It is Thursday, February 3rd, 2022. It's another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man T. Plouffe wearing his Baseball Today sweatshirt. I am Chris Rose wearing my NFL media sweatshirt.
Oh, wow. Sucking up. Okay.
Well, it's not a question of sucking up. It's a question of I've got to work out right after this. It's a little nippy outside. So I try and keep my sweatshirt that won't overheat me, but keep me warm at the same time. And hoodies like that make me too warm.
Maybe you need a little bit more sweat in your life.
No, I definitely don't.
Hey, what's your hat you're wearing?
This is the Seawolves. Yeah, pretty cool one. I like this. I like rotating.
What happened to his eye?
What's that?
What happened to his eye?
Oh, he's mean. He's got like the Las Vegas Raiders Seawolf look to him.
Okay.
No?
I couldn't tell if it was like an emo haircut or if that's an eye patch.
That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. Hey, it was 1 week ago. We were flying back together from beautiful Newark, New Jersey, and that woman had taken her shoes off and put the feet up on the tray table and had a big coat out. I've told that story to like 100 people, and they were like, that sounds so gross.
It was really bad.
Yeah,
it was really bad.
Can we talk about something more enjoyable?
Yes, please.
The lockout. Okay, so they've met 5 times in the last 11 days. I've talked to a couple guys who've been in those meetings. They're like, yeah, we feel like we're making progress and everything. But ESPN's Jesse Rogers put out a great column about like dates you need to be aware of as a baseball fan. And the first one is February 15th, the start of spring training. How confident are you that we will start spring training on time?
0. I mean,
0.
I don't think there's any chance we start spring training as regularly scheduled as in February 15th, pitchers and catchers report. I don't think so.
0.
Yeah, I don't even think I can leave like a 0.1.
Really? Not even the Michael Jordan, 0.001?
I don't think so.
Oh, what a bummer you are.
I like from the people I've been talking to, and you said you've been talking to some guys in the meetings that are saying, oh, we're making some progress. I don't know, man. Every single person I talked to is pretty pessimistic, and I've grown increasingly pessimistic over the last week. I know we're meeting a lot. We're talking good things, but if you're just knocking heads, and like giving here a little bit, giving there a little bit, it's not fast enough.
Okay. So the next thing would be the start of spring training games on February 26th. Definitely not happening.
I think that's going to be pushed back as well. Yes.
Okay.
Maybe. And no, I can't even, you know what? I will give that here's why. I'll give that almost 100% chance of happening because there's guys that are going to be in spring training, minor leaguers, guys that are non-roster invites.
So we're going to be playing. You think we're going to be playing spring training games with guys that are not on the 40-man?
I think there's a really good chance that they try to do something like that because these guys have to play. I mean, they don't have to play, but
yeah, they
have to play.
Right. Yeah.
So I've heard some rumblings that might be going on.
By the way, major leaguers won't like look at those guys with a stink eye, right? They understand that those kids, they got to do what they're told, right? It's not like, I mean, they're not protected by the union yet.
They're not protected by the union.
So
no.
The union should not get mad at those kids when their bosses tell them, hey, get your ass on that field. That's not scab-like. I'm sorry, it's not.
I agree with that take. I think there might be a few guys who are teetering the line where it's like they'd have to make a decision because, they've been part of the union or, stuff like that. So there are some guys that are fringe, but for most like minor leaguers, they really have they have to go do it. It's their career.
Right. And I think I don't want to speak for major league players, but I would say this. I really don't think that's going to be the end all be all. Like you're not breaking, you're not crossing the picket line or something like that. Is so like 1980s mentality. That's some bullshit. If that's the way you're thinking today, that's not what the hang up is of these conversations.
I mean, if you're represented by on the 40-man roster and represented by the union, then that is a big thing. But when you're not,
right,
then that's a different subject.
All right, last one quickly. March 31st, start of the regular season.
It's just how, if we do get something done within the spring training time, how quickly can we be ready? I don't know. I don't know if teams want to push guys. I don't know if players want to be pushed. We have spring training for a reason. It's to get, ramped up for the 162. Now, have I talked on this show about needing to shorten spring training before? Yeah. So it can be done. But I think in this instance, when we don't know and we're just kind of inching our way towards, I think they might try to extend it. We might miss some games.
All right. Realistically, how much time do players need? So
Pitchers
so that they're not putting their health at risk.
Pitchers need more, and you can try to simulate like game speed as much as you want in practice, but you just can't. Like, you need to have some games. I would say 2 weeks of games is good for everybody.
2 weeks,
like the quickest that we need to get ready. Yes.
Yeah, but if we do that, like, let's not rush to a date here. I mean, this thing has all been fucked up. Okay, we get it. The lockout's now gone on more than 2 months. It feels like there hasn't been a ton of progress made, but let's not rush to get the meal done here, because what's going to happen is you're going to have guys blowing out. A lot of
100%.
Just to hit a March 31st start date does not make sense to me, because I want to make sure that the Jacob deGroms of the world are there for 6 months. I don't want to see them for 3.5.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think either side will want to rush into it just because of that. And I'm saying 2 weeks of games. There needs to be some lead up to the games. And that's only if you're saying, I know what all of my pitchers and catchers have been doing to get in shape. But guess what? It's a fucking lockout, Chris. You can't even talk to your players because you're so dumb that you locked them all out. So, 2 weeks on a regular year of games, I think could work. This year is, it's the chance of losing games is I would say outweighs the chance of not losing games. And I don't think anybody thinks that's a hot take or anything like that. The way this has been going, inching along, it's just the reality of the situation.
All right, let's hit a couple other things quickly. Still a ton of big name free agents out there, including guys who have been faces of franchises that could be on the move. So I'm going to give you 3 names here. Which one would you like to see change teams just in terms of interest the most? Clayton Kershaw, Freddie Freeman, or Kenley Jansen?
I mean, the most interesting is obviously Freddie Freeman. Like, he's got some really good years left, and he'd be able to leave Atlanta at the top and then slide over to LA, or New York, and just be in playoff contention year after year after year again in a massive market. Everyone talks about how funny Freddie Freeman is. I think if you go to an LA or a New York, there's going to be more exposure for him. So I think that's really fun. I'd like to see Kershaw in a Rangers uniform. And I like to see the Rangers keep spending money and be good like they want to be all of a sudden, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I'll say Freddie in LA will be just
I agree. I think Freddie Freeman would be fantastic, in part because the one thing we don't talk about Freeman when it comes to Freddie Freeman, he is an everyday baseball player. He has missed 7 regular season games in the last 4 years. 7. And his lowest OPS, awesome. 892 over that 4-year span. So not only is he there every day, he's dominant every day. He can be a total swing guy. A lot of people say with a guy like Kenley Jansen, who I believe has had at least 62 appearances in 8 of the last 10 years. And one of those was obviously the shortened pandemic season. Another one, he was a little banged up, but he's there to answer the bell all the time. And he's still an 11K per 9 guy. But Freddie Freeman on the move would be something sensational for baseball, because he could totally swing not only a division, but maybe an entire league. The power shift.
Think about Kenley too. People in LA, it's hit or miss with him. Sometimes they love him, sometimes they hate him. He's underappreciated. And if he goes somewhere else and does his thing, I think a lot of people in LA be like, dang, I miss Kenley. I miss California Love coming out and watching him, blow dudes away with the cutter. And if he does go somewhere else, and you have someone else step up in the bullpen, it's not guaranteed he's going to give you what Kenley gave you. That's for damn sure.
He had one shitty series last year against the Giants, and then people will always hold it against him that he wasn't the guy closing out the World Series, that it was Urias instead, that they had to go to a starting pitcher to close out the World Series in 2020, and that's not fair. He's been so good over the last decade.
The Giants did that too when they had Bumgardner close out every damn game. Like it happens in the playoffs. You ride the hot hand.
And by the way, the Astros did it with Charlie Morton. Like it happens, guys. That's how games are managed in the World Series and the playoffs these days. ESPN did its top 100 players of all time. The highest ranked active player, no big surprise, Mike Trout, who checked in 15th overall, I believe, just ahead of Joe DiMaggio and just behind Greg Maddux. Why are you smiling?
Is he even 30 yet? Is he 30?
He turned 30 last August.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He's the 15th best player ever. Already.
Right.
I love that.
Right. And I think there were 20,000 ballots cast by people at ESPN who cover the sport and are editors of the sport and all sorts of crazy stuff. And listen, these lists are created so that your blood gets boiling, right? Like we all sit there and Babe Ruth, number one on their list. Are you kidding me? You know, he only played against certain players, all that sort of stuff. Just keep that in mind. They're creating.
I think that too.
Yeah, I do too. But they're creating these lists so that you get pissed off, so that you read the content. So keep all of that in mind. Lists are made so that you can argue and motherfuck people. Okay. With all that being said, once his career is over, how high can Mike Trout get on this list?
I don't really know. You'd want to think he could go to the top. But the obsession with Babe Ruth and
the top?
Might never go away. I mean, yeah, when all things considered, you know, and all those things you were talking about before with Babe Ruth, how, you know, he didn't play integrated baseball. And basically, I mean, if you just kind of watch some of the footage, I get we have to take it, you know, for his era. We have to like include that in our thought process. But when you watch Mike play and the type of baseball he played today and just the way he's been able to excel year after year after year and consistently just be great. If he does that, if he has to continue the pace, obviously.
Right.
I think most of us think he'll at least continue at 6-7 WAR pace for the foreseeable future. And then hopefully he continues to go at a, 4 or 5 WAR pace towards the end of his career. He probably won't reach Babe Ruth's WAR, but it's hard to say like that. This isn't the best player of all time when you watch him.
Let's start with the simple stuff. The guys we saw play, because it's hard for us. We see highlights about Willie Mays. We can talk to family members and friends who saw Willie Mays play and stuff like that. It's hard for us to have a definitive opinion because I never saw him swing a bat. Okay. Next in line is Greg Maddux ahead of him. Greg Maddux
is really good.
He was, and so what would it take for him to get past Greg Maddux? Probably another MVP or two is my guess. Ahead of him is Ken Griffey Jr.
That's a lot of really good names. I understand that. When you really look at the list, like I think like Willie Mays, I told you this before the show. I think Willie Mays and Ted Williams are like my interchangeable 1-2s.
Right.
And again, I didn't see these guys play, but I've seen highlights and I've read about them and you can look at their numbers. But
Travis,
I think he's easily going to win more MVPs. This is all assuming he stays healthy. I think there's at least 2 more MVPs in his future.
Except that we've talked about Shohei Ohtani. Like how in the world, right? Like how could you not vote him as the most valuable guy?
I forgot about Ohtani.
Guy on his team.
I mean, look, those 2 are going to be 1-2 for the foreseeable future, and Ohtani might just go gangbusters and win 5 in a row. Yeah, but unless they have the fatigue we talked about.
So now that Trout basically missed 4 months.
My head is spinning right now.
I know.
I'm in a pretzel. This is exactly what ESPN wanted.
1,000%. Right now you have to figure out how is it that Mike Trout wins another MVP? And I think it's a legitimate question. He has to be so much better than a healthy Shohei Ohtani.
He's going to count on the fatigue like we talked about.
Well,
I got to count on that.
Okay. The other thing is that now that a guy like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. had such a monster offensive season, if Toronto is significantly better team-wise and the numbers with Trout are so similar, how could you actually vote Mike Trout over a guy like Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? Right? I mean, there's a lot of stuff going against Trout getting another MVP, in my opinion.
I think Ohtani is the problem here.
I would agree.
Holy man. I can't believe they did that to me.
Lot going on
right now. And look, I still think Trout has a chance to be number one.
Mhm.
Like I said, it might not be an overall career WAR, but I think the circumstances surrounding and the time, era, all that good stuff will eventually play to his benefit.
All right, last one. MLB The Show, we talked about the other day, came out with Shohei on the cover. They also came out with the promo, which was awesome. It was kind of like a superhero cartoon sort of deal. If you could take one player, past or present, and turn them into a superhero cartoonish character and build something around him, who would it be?
The first person that came to mind was Randy Johnson. Like,
Ooh.
he looks kind of like a cartoon character already. Like real lanky, throws like fireballs. He's killed things already with his pitch. Like that's the one guy I thought. And he doesn't have to be a hero. He could be a villain.
Ooh.
Mine
is definitely a hero.
Okay, tell me.
And we're calling it Big Sexy. I mean, is there a better cartoon character than Bartolo Colon?
He's an inspiration for a lot of people.
Right?
I'll say that right now.
You started out with the grabbing of the belly and then show the amazing athleticism. Everybody that's ever played with him talks about how a freaking witch of an athlete he is. Right? The amazing behind the back toss that he did and hitting the home run off of James Shields and the place goes nuts. Like he is every man while still having superhero tendencies.
Have you seen his workouts too that he does, like with the band?
Right? Does great stuff. I'm telling you, man, I could market that shit and sell it to Netflix in a second. You don't think we could squeeze 3 seasons out of Big Sexy, the cartoon?
I love it. Oh my gosh.
They only need 3. They only want you for 3 seasons at Netflix. That's it. And then you're gone.
Oh, Bartolo, man. Get Bartolo in the dugout.
All right. What do you got coming up on John Boy?
Before we get into all that, I got something to tell you. We talked about asking your neighbors, whoever, 5 baseball players. I did it for a couple of different people.
Okay.
One was my neighbor, Michelle. If people know Nameless Jeff, this is Nameless Jeff's wife. And I said, Michelle, can you name me 5 players? And she named Mookie Betts.
Mm-hmm.
She named Clayton Kershaw.
Mm-hmm.
She named Justin Turner. And she named me. And that was it.
Well, that's 4. So
that's
she ain't counting.
Then I asked, and that's, she's a Dodger fan, so I get it.
Right.
Then I asked my baseball team. We had our first practice yesterday. I asked my baseball team. These are 6 and 7-year-olds, basically.
Okay.
I said, give me your favorite baseball player. Only 2 of them could, out of 10 people that were there yesterday, only 2 of them could name a baseball player.
What? Oh, that's
Mookie
depressing.
Betts was the only one that was mentioned twice.
Oh my God. No.
So, my job, and I do this with all my teams, I give them baseball cards and I say, go read about this player, go learn about this player. I've never had to do it this much. This is going to be a rough year for me as far as baseball knowledge, but I'm going to do my best. And before the season is over, these kids are going to know a ton of baseball players. But let's go.
That's really depressing. All right,
what
do you
got,
coming
man?
up on John Boy? Since nobody knows who baseball players are,
it's tough, man. These guys play baseball too. We had an episode drop yesterday, I think. I don't know. We did something. What did we do yesterday? Yeah.
Well, no, we
talking
still
baseball.
That's
great as always. Yeah.
We've got the Glass Now issue that's coming out. The episode that is out, I should say. It's actually gotten a lot of press because he talks about his future in Tampa Bay, getting back throwing shortly. A lot of good stuff in there, and he's always super entertaining. Later this morning, I am going to be taping with Zach Plesac of the Cleveland Guardians. Very much looking forward to that. Cannot wait.
I am too.
To be honest with you. Really fun-loving dude. 3-sport athlete in high school. Rumor has it he feels like, because he actually played, he hit in college at Ball State. He's one of those pitchers that feels like if he had been given the opportunity, he could have been a 2-way player. So we'll be talking about that.
I only give that stamp of approval to very few. I'm going to have to listen to the interview and kind of do my own research on this.
And then, so we're probably going to tape and hold that one because tomorrow I'm getting Miguel Rojas back, which is great. Looking forward to catching up with Miggy. And our guest is supposed to be Christian Yelich of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yelly. He just was at
Yeah.
a really nice wedding I saw on his Instagram.
Oh,
Ask him about that.
was it a hoity-toity one?
Yeah, it was in Mexico.
Oh.
Nice resort there.
Okay, nice. All right, bud. Go teach your kids some baseball players. God, that's just. I'm gonna have
It's
to go
tough. It was
shake
tough
that
for
one
me.
off. Gonna have to go.
Hey,
shake
shout
that
out
one
Mookie
off.
Betts though. Everyone knows Mookie.
Yep, that's good. Neighbor. So listen, everybody continue to have a great day. Thank you as always for consuming our content here at John Boy Media. We do not take that lightly. We know you have a lot of choices out there, so thank you very much. Seriously? What stop on the minor league tour was that? Or is that from Crespi?
It's a Red Wings thing. It's my favorite cup because it's so big. I can just crush water with it.
Rochester?
Yeah, it's got Kyle Gibson, Ben Revere, and Denard Span also.
Oh, great ones.
Yeah.
I loved Span. I loved Span. He and
Span's awesome.
Yeah. You know who else I loved, but I don't know if he was around much for it. Was Jock Jones.
Yeah, I know Jock.
Hilarious, dude.
Span has there's some funny origin stories with Span. Pretty raw baseball player, like more of a, I think he was a receiver or cornerback in high school.
I think he was a receiver.
And there's stories that he came and would hit with his hands split. When he was a first rounder.
What?
Yeah, hitting with his hands
with
split.
his hands.
This is how good of an athlete this guy is.
My God.
And he turned into a hell of a ball player.
Mm-hmm. Really good career. Solid. All right, listen, we will see everybody next week on Tuesday, I do believe. Can't wait.
Let's do it.
That'll be fun. Have a great weekend. There's no NFL except for the Pro Bowl, whatever that means. Start teaching your kids about baseball players. Go ask your friends, top 5, and think of some baseball players that can be turned into cartoon characters. That's simple. That's your homework assignment, everybody.
That's it.
Thanks very much for tuning into Baseball Today. We'll see you soon.